Okay, so today what we are going to do is we are going to talk about the paper two, right? So
Yes, sir.
how to structure a paper two question. So the first thing that we have here in paper two is a big case study, right? And they are going to be four questions. Each one will be split into two different parts, right? So for paper two, let me just write certain things for the paper too.
Sir, I had one question for paper two. Like in school,
Yeah,
my teacher was talking about that. I think in the 12th markers, you have level 1, level 2, level 3. Could you explain that as well?
yeah, I will. I will. The basically the levels which are given by the Cambridge is just showing you that if you in the first of the levels where the lowest level is where you are basically only able to provide some knowledge and some very small bit of analysis and there is no evaluation in it. Then the higher level is where you have developed the points as well and made some of the analysis too, right? And the highest
Yes.
of the levels is basically where your knowledge is appropriate, you have added the good application, your analysis is accurate, and you have also given a justified conclusion of the answer of the question, right? So all of
Okay.
these things are basically available. So what we will be doing here, you will have a perfect idea that how to develop an answer which is a top level answer, right? So, paper two, question number. Okay, so first thing is the time. What's the total time for paper two?
It's the same 1 hour 30 minutes.
1 hour, 30 minutes. And what's the marks?
So we have 8 markers and 12 markers. So each question is 20 marks in total. And we have 4 questions
Yes,
that would be 80 marks.
8 and 12, 8 and 12. Okay, just give me one second. Okay, so Rishi, the marks that we have here are 80 in total.
Yes, sir.
And we said that there are going to be four questions: question number one, question number two, question number three, and question number four. Right. And the first question is A and B, and then again A and B, then again A and B, then again A and B. We have an 8 marker and the 12, 8 and 12, 8 and 12, 8 and 12. Right. So
Yes.
the first thing that you need to do in a paper two case study is that you have to read the case study first. This is the most important part, that you carefully read what the case study is all about, right? That you study here. The, let's say there's going to be a full case, plus there are going to be three appendices. So while reading the case study, what I require from you is that you will also have to underline the important things which you can add as part of your application, right?
Oh,
So if you will underline these things, so you will not have to go to the insert again and again and look for the words which you can add in your application, because a lot of application is required in your paper too. So that's why when you're reading the case, let's suppose if this is the case study, the Bethany owns the BB Health Spa in main city in country X. Economic growth has been high for the last few years. Government of country X wants this growth to continue. So basically, government wants growth to continue, so it has reduced the income tax. So government has also reduced the income tax, right? They're worried
yes.
about the inflation becoming a problem and increase in trust rates. So these are some of the important things that you can underline before doing your case. Let's suppose you've started doing your question. So before that, you underline everything in your case study, right? This is the first thing. Now we come to the main part, and you also have to read all the appendices very
Yes.
carefully. So they usually say that you spend about 10 to 15 minutes reading through the introduction and all the appendices and all the four questions before you attempt to answer any of the questions. So this 10 to 15 minutes not only include the case, the appendices, plus the reading of all the questions as well. Right. Okay. Now the next thing is the first part, the 8 marker. So there is going to be a question one, question two. My voice is. I guess you are you using any hands free or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, you're not using a hands free. Okay, okay, that's fine then. Then there is some issue with this. Oh, this is fine now. So there's going to be question one, two, three, and four, and we have the parts A, B, C. Sorry, A. All are the A's. Why I'm writing A, B, C, D. Okay, so for this we have all of them are 8 markers. Now, which assessment objectives are required to do
So
the
I
eight
think
markers?
it's the knowledge, application, and the analysis.
Yes, very good. So here we have the AO1, 2, and 3. So all of them are included. Oh, first three are included, not the evaluation one. Okay. Okay. And usually, how much time do you think we should give to an eight marker?
8 minutes.
So if you give about 8 minutes, so it means that you have spent about 32 minutes here. Yes, and if you spend about 12 there, let's suppose 12 minutes each there, so you have about 48, 50, 80 minutes. 80 minutes, yeah, in 10, 15 minutes to read the case. I guess this will be more than enough to spend 8 minutes on each question. Okay, so if you look at this particular question, so there are two types of question that can occur here. One is going to be really easy for you to do,
Yes, sir.
which does not even require the application, and that is this type of question. Let's say he says explain four reasons why effective communication between the owner and employees in a business is important, right? So you have to provide a reason here, which is your A1, and you have to show the impact, explaining it, showing the impact, which is AO2, sorry, AO3 analysis. You do the same thing here. AO1 knowledge is going to come, and in two lines, you have to show the impact. So I don't think that this type of a question will take more than, probably 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
What do you say? So this can be done in 5 minutes, right? So this is an easy question to do, no doubt about it. But then there is another type of an eight marker which can come, which says explain two possible reasons why Bethany wants the business to remain small. Now, why would we say that the application is coming probably going to come here and not in the other A part? Why is that?
Because here they've included the name. They've included an application from the business in the question, so that means we require application in our answer.
Yeah, exactly. So you require an application in this answer. So that's why. And if you will look at the length of this, no, it will be like reason one, and then explanation lines will not be like this,
Yes, sir. It
right?
will be longer.
There will be more. Yeah. So it's going to be like this. Then they will give you another reason, and then there's going to be another explanation of a good length. So it means that when you are doing it, you are going to provide the knowledge here, and you have to give the analysis here, impact of the point, plus you have to slide in the application into this.
So I have a question. So
Yes.
since we have to give two reasons, that's like 4 marks per part. So is it like 2 marks for analysis or 2 marks for application? Like how does it work? Those 4 marks for reason one and its explanation, and for reason two and its explanation.
You're talking about this one, right?
Yes, sir. Like first reason and second reason. So if I divide that, that's like 4 marks for each reason and its explanation. So how are those 4 marks splitted, or it doesn't work like that?
You see, the thing is that when you are considering a paper two question, so there you have about 2 marks for the two reasons that you're providing,
Okay.
2 marks for this application that you're providing, and there are going to be at least 4 marks for the analysis that you will be doing on this. You understand
Okay.
that?
Yes, sir.
So they will be marking you like this here. So this is so when we say that the analysis is a bit lengthy, so it means that we have to provide a good chain here. What do you say?
Yes, sir.
Because it's not like the normal analysis that you are doing. Because in the normal analysis, or in the 6 markers that you were doing, you used to only provide one impact, and that impact usually was enough to give you the marks. It was more than enough. But now in an 8 marker, it is a bit different, which means that when you're writing an 8 marker, or either it could be like this, where you have AO1 for the 4 marks and AO3 the impacts that you are giving, a bit of explanation
Yes.
basically, right? Additional mark for each of the explanation that you provide. So that explanation is basically the impact, but it is a very short length of uh, explanation that you have to provide, right? So not a big developed chain, and there are basically no marks for the application here. But the scenario is very different when it comes to the other part, because there you will be, 1 mark each for this. So it means that AO1 will be given total of 2 marks. AO2 will have total of 2 marks, right? And AO3 will have total of 4 marks. But how do they write in the marking scheme? They usually say that there is 1 mark for each of the reason, whatever it is written, whether the reason, the objective, the factor, the advantage, the disadvantage. So they are going to say 1 mark for each advantage or disadvantage or objective or reason, and max will be of two, right? This is two.
Okay.
Then they say that usually they use the word award a maximum of 3 additional marks for each explanation, right? And one of which must be applied to context, right?
Okay.
So they usually say that 3 additional marks for each explanation, one of which must be applied, which means that they usually say that we probably would be giving, let's say, probably 1 mark here for the AO2, but this is not the right way of doing the answer. It's a big explanation. Why wouldn't you add an application in both the sides? You understand that? So here
Yes, sir.
it should have AO2 and AO3, and here as well it should have AO2 and AO3. Do not go by this point that okay, fine, they will only consider one of the application. They might consider two applications. I have seen that happening in 2020 paper. So it's the best way of doing it to keep the balance. And the balance is also very important. Although the marking scheme says something different, right? But still, I have shown
Yes.
you the specimen papers where they are saying that the examiner is expecting you to balance your answer by giving the advantages and the disadvantage when he was talking about that E part, 6 marks, right? So
Yes,
in the
sir.
same way, if you are the examiner, what would you expect? You wouldn't expect that in an 8 marker he gives only one application and he doesn't give another one in the other part. you would still expect that, okay, fine, this is just one word. Why can't he just slide in that word into his answer? Right?
Yes, sir.
So that's why I recommend a normal way of doing it, and that is mark for the knowledge, 1 mark for the analysis, sorry, the application, two for the analysis. Then coming to the second part, 1 mark for the knowledge, again 2 marks for the analysis, and 1 mark for the application.
So I have a
Right?
question. So
Yes.
since it's 2 marks for analysis, that means do we need to state like two impacts?
Yeah.
Okay,
You cause and effect when you're making that cause and effect thing. So you're not going to stick to only one point to it. Let's
okay,
suppose if I say that, what can we say? Let's suppose if we talk about business objectives. So one of the objectives of the business is to make money. That is the profit. That profit, if you write, is your knowledge, isn't it?
yes,
Because you have identified one of the objectives of the business. Now, if you add here in your analysis that profits are required to provide money to
the
provide a
shareholders.
return, yeah, provide a return on the investment of the shareholders, right?
Yes, sir.
And owners who have risked their money, right? Or you could say a point that you want to have a market share. Why you want to have a market share? Because you want to attract more customers.
Yes,
So what will happen if you will attract more customers? Leading to higher sales and revenue. Does this make sense?
yes, sir.
When you
So,
were doing, yes, yes,
so in the profit part where we wrote provide return to the investors and owners, are we considering that as one impact or two
we
impacts?
can
Because we,
consider it two different impacts. Why? Because profits can are basically the objective of earning profit is to give a return to the investment to the shareholders, and plus the owners who have their own money into the business, they are also, they are risking their money for what? Why are they doing the business? The purpose of doing the business is to make profit.
yes, sir.
So these are two different points. Now, if you
Okay.
consider this, if it was a 6 mark question, so you would have been given 1 mark here for the market share and 1 mark here for attracting more customers, right?
Yes, sir.
For the analysis that you want a market share so that you want to attract more customers to buy from you. Although, what I believe is that these examiners sometimes you do not know what are they thinking, because sometimes what they do is that although they say that give only one impact in a 6 mark question, which we were doing in paper once, but then
Yes, sir.
again, somebody who has given an impact and it is not clear, they will definitely write that the analysis is vague.
Um,
So if it is not vague, then it will be accepted. Let's say you say the purpose is growth. Why? For more sales. This will be accepted. But something like this, I guess they might not accept in a 6 marker because they will say, okay, fine, what will happen when you will attract more customers? That will eventually result in more sales and revenue. So probably even there, they would not consider it as the final thing, because in a 6 mark, you have to, just keep this thing in mind where you have to only provide a knowledge and one impact. Your impact should be concrete.
Okay.
One, because you are not using another sentence or another point to explain it. If you're not doing that, then you should be very clear. Here it is clear. You want growth because you want more sales. They will accept it, right? And
Yes.
if you are, and in these sort of questions, I believe it becomes rather easier to give the impact because you will always see in the examiner reports as well that the mm, points not being considered by the examiner are those analyses are not basically considered by the examiner where there is only one impact. Usually in six markers, they are not accepting it. Why? Because when you are making an analysis, you make it so vague that one point that it doesn't explain actually that how business will be making any benefit out of it, how business will be benefiting from that impact or from that particular point. So your impact is sometimes vague. Here in your eight marker, you have enough of the playing space that you can easily make the examiner understand what do you mean by that, and a good chain can be established very easily because you have more space as well, now here.
Yes, sir.
There you do not have enough space and you have to write only one impact. So that one impact should be very concrete. It should be something that actually shows what will be the impact on the business. So in the other part, the eight marker, because this is for the six marker E part I'm talking about. This is the A part eight marker that I'm talking about at P2. And this is for P1. So here you have two impacts. So it rather, I believe, is easier to do. But what sort of a problem can occur here that the candidate is not being able to get the two full marks for the impact? What could be the problem?
The analysis is not right.
Yeah, that is one case that can also happen here. But something which is different from the 6 mark E part analysis, a mistake that can occur in an 8 mark is that when you are writing the two impacts, you end up stating the same thing in both the sentences,
Oh,
right?
yes, sir.
You say, if you will say that, okay, fine, if you do this, the business will have more growth and it will expand. So, growth and expansion is the same thing. And
Yes, sir.
this seems to be when you are, I always tell that as an instructor who is explaining this, that bidder do not make such a mistake. It's far more easier when than the point where the student is actually writing that answer. So there are a lot of things going in your head at that time. You do not probably be checking it even that have I made a mistake of giving the same thing again or not? Because you will be writing in a flow and moving forward,
Yes, sir.
isn't it? But how can you improve that? Is when you practice. Why? Because in practice, you can make mistakes.
Yes, sir.
And you can basically, while making those mistakes, you can check them. While doing your answer, you can check whether the points are same or not, because there is no time constraint. There is no pressure that this is only one attempt that you have, right? So there you
Yes,
can
sir.
also, if you are writing, you cancel it out and you redo it. That is possible when you are practicing it. But I do not even recommend that. Why? Because this will, you will become habitual of doing the same thing that you are cutting it off and then writing again. In economics, you can do that
Yes,
because
sir.
you will have a full page where there's no limit to how much you are required to write. But here they have given you specific lines. If let's suppose you are giving this explanation here, let's say here you are giving this explanation on this particular part, and you wrote the first line and you came to know that this is wrong. So you cut it. Now you're only left with one line. If you're not able to explain it well in that one line, you will lose the mark.
Yes, sir.
You understand that? So, right, giving the same thing is a possibility that you might end up giving the same thing, which is obviously going to be absolutely wrong, right? Which is
Yes,
going
sir.
to be absolutely wrong. So this is one thing that you need to actually avoid better.
Yes, sir.
That needs to be avoided. If you are not avoiding it, then there is an issue, right? And then the second mistake that you can make probably is that one of your impact is right and the other one is not. The connection is weak. What will happen with the weak connection is that he will definitely deduct one mark, and you could end up even losing both the marks because a weak connection might not make sense at all in your answer. That you have a knowledge, you have the first impact, and then you have a second impact. And if this impact is wrong, he might not be able to understand this. And you know what examiner says? That if you, because sometimes what happens that if you are, let's suppose you are in school and you have done a question and the teacher is checking the instructor is checking your question in front of you, and he's saying that, okay, Khushi, so I didn't get it what you mean here, right? So you
Yes.
would probably say that, okay, fine, sir, what I meant was this. The examiner in the examiner report says about such points that do not make the examiner guess what you mean. So you see, so do not make him guess what you mean because he is not going to come to you and ask that what you meant, right?
Yes, sir.
So if while giving your knowledge and your first impact and your second impact, you made this mistake, then beta, it is a big problem. You
Yes, sir.
understand that? You need to actually avoid that, right? Get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's just move on to the next point. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, coming back. So the next thing is, mm,
So I have a question.
yes.
Why is it that in business we are given a line limit, but then in economics we are not given a line limit? Like,
You know, what I feel like is that in economics, when you are doing a 2, 4, and 2, 4, 6, and 8 markers, no?
yes, sir.
So, or even if you are doing the case study thing, there the structure of doing the questions is very different because the application is not seen as the application which is seen as the way it is in the business. One thing. Second thing is that there is more requirement of writing more in economics than business. If you consider that you have to perform here 4 questions of
Yes, sir.
20 marks each, right? In how much time? 1 hour and 30 minutes with reading the case study as well, right?
Yes, sir.
And there, although the marks are 90, but still if you consider the time, so the time is also 2 hours and 15 minutes. And if you take about 45 minutes just to do the above 30 mark case study, right, which
Yes,
is
sir.
fair enough of a time, so you have 1 hour and 30 minutes to do a 60 mark paper.
Oh,
Why? Because you see that there you have been given more time and less marks is because there is more writing stuff. The essay sort of things are there. In the business, it is more, the structure is more and more based on just keeping it to the assessment objectives and keeping it very precise. There in
okay.
economics, when you are developing a chain, if you develop one impact, it will be considered nothing, whether it is a 6 marker, whether it is an 8 marker. Giving one development point is nothing. You have to create a full linkage there, right?
Yes, sir.
Because there is a chance that you might also be repeating the same thing the way that I said it here. So there you
Yes, sir.
should have at least 4 impacts. And
Oh,
secondly, another thing is that when you are talking about a single business, so you do not have so much to say about it. Because let's suppose, how can you compare a simple communication let what is the impact of email on a business and the impact of high inflation on the economy? You see the difference?
yes,
The
sir.
difference in the type of the questions, it's a huge difference. So how can you very precisely write about that impact in 2 lines? You can't.
Yes, sir.
So I guess that is one of the main reasons, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now the next question is, oh my God, what have I done? Okay. So we are basically here done with the 8 marker. Everything is clear here. Anything
Yes,
that you do not understand?
it's clear.
All clear? Okay, great. So now that 12 marker, I will also talk about the levels as well, so that you have an idea that what are we supposed to do in the different levels. But I will give you some idea about how to structure it first. The
Yes,
B part. So the B part is about this is question number one, two, three, and four. And you have here the B parts, and these are of 12, 12, 12, and 12, right? So, which assessment objectives are required here, beta?
all of them.
All of them. You need to have the knowledge, the application of the knowledge, then the analysis and the evaluation as well. So basically, we're going to consider here all AO1, 2, 3, 4, AO1, 2, 3, 4, AO1, 2, 3, 4, and AO1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So now, if you have to talk about the time, so how much time?
12 minutes?
Yeah, it will be more than enough to do it. Okay. So now I want you to first see the two different types of questions are coming here. One type is consider the weekly forecast in Appendix 2 for the two additional services Bethany could choose, haircut, steam room, and include the calculation of the profit for the two services in your response. The appendix has given all those as well. Which additional services Bethany choose to offer justify your answer? I want you to just look at this question and tell me that according to how you are going to give the marks, allot the marks basically.
Would it be uh, so there would be one for two for knowledge, then two for application, and then
How many for the knowledge?
two for knowledge,
Okay, two for,
two for application,
okay,
then is it 4 marks for analysis
okay, and
and then
then
4 marks for the evaluation?
4 marks for the evaluation. Okay. Now I tell you one thing, very important here, because
Yes.
we cannot stick to the margins only. That, okay, fine, marginally we need to write this much. This much is I'm going to write and I'm going to get the marks. That is not
Yes.
the right approach. The right approach is first thing that you have to see that what is happening to the lines. So they would probably be saying haircut, same lines. Then they have, let's say, steam room, same amount of lines. And then they have the justification part. And there they are also giving the same amount of lines, isn't it? Agreed?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So now, if you consider all of this, haircut, steam room, and justification. So I guess the first thing that we need to see here is, let's suppose we are talking about the haircut, and he says that consider the weekly forecast and two additional services, include calculation of profit and two services in your response, right? So, which additional service should Bethany choose to offer? So, it means that here we can talk about the advantage with with an impact,
Yes, sir.
a disadvantage with an impact. And while doing all of this, you can add an application. Then you have again the same thing, advantage with an impact,
Yes.
disadvantage with an impact, and an application can be added here. And then you justify, right? You're evaluating for 4 marks. Let's suppose you are evaluating. Because you see, the first thing is that there must be something that they might be thinking that if four are here, four are here, four are here, isn't it? Because
Yes,
even
sir.
the lines are same, na? So similar lines, and we have done, a more uh the basic division that we have done, a very layman division that we have done. That okay, fine, if the lines are similar, so they are going to be 4, 4, 4. Now, how they are going to mark you here? In when you're talking about justification. So previously, if you remember, justification or the evaluation had 2 marks.
Yes, sir.
1 mark was basically given when you choose a side, right?
Yes.
And 1 mark was given for making that comparison. Now the difference is that yes, this 1 mark will be given for choosing a side. Yes, a comparison will be made, but a bit of a lengthy or two comparisons that you can, 2 points that you can discuss, or even if there is 1 point, but it is in a good comparison, so it must be giving you 2 marks for the comparison. Where they are giving you the 1 extra mark then?
Is it the reason why we are choosing that side, particular side?
Yeah, so that's a comparison that you are making now. You're giving the reason for that. What I tell you, very important here, while giving a reasoning here, you remember when you do an evaluation in a 6 marker, so they
Yes, sir.
always say that you have to also look at from the point of view of the hidden application if there is given. Let's suppose
Yes,
they
sir.
are talking about a small business, so according to that, you have to tell that job production is better or flow production. So here there is no such hidden evaluation, but here there is more of a sorry, hidden application, more of a straight application, which is the appendix 2, right?
Yes, sir.
So you are adding the application here and you are adding the application here, which seems to be, must be enough to gain the application marks. But how your reasoning will be strong enough to give you 3 marks for that reasoning is going to be when your answer is also linked to the case and you have an application to follow up with.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying right now?
Yes, sir.
That your recommendation should also include the application. This is one thing. So it must have the site. Secondly, it must have a comparative reason, the reason in comparison, and it must be based on adding the application to. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
That's how he will be marking. And
So
here,
that
if you
means,
consider, yes, yes, go on.
like for haircut, suppose the advantage, I only need to write one impact. I don't need to form like a chain of analysis for that.
No, 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 format, no, format, no. You have to give there are about, application is something that is giving a strength to your justification. But the main 3 marks in your evaluation, apart from choosing a side, is that how you are evaluating it, right?
Yes, sir.
So out of those 3 marks, he could give you 1 mark for adding the application, but if it is not linked, then how he is going to mark it? So basically, the 3 marks are for the justification if you are giving a good comparison there,
Okay.
right? So your comparison should be talking about why choosing, let's suppose, haircut and why not choosing the steam room. It's a big thing to write,
Yes, sir.
right? And now, here, when you're talking about the 4 marker, it seems to be very easy that he's giving 1 mark for the application, 1 mark for the knowledge, and 2 marks for the analysis, right? But
Yes, sir.
how you are going to make it so good that he will definitely give you 2 marks, sorry, full marks here, is that you give two knowledge points. It is the same thing as we have already done. If you remember, he said specifically that your answer should be balanced. He said specifically that there must be advantages and disadvantages. So how can you
Yes.
write a 3 mark or a 4 mark justification without having a good analysis above? And good analysis is not better based on only the merits or only the demerits. It is always based on giving the advantages and the disadvantages, right? And you know
Yes.
what I recommend even my students is that when you are writing one advantage, add an application here, add an application here, add an application here, add an application here. It is not that you are adding an application only to make sure that you are giving you are fulfilling the marks category that you have been allotted. So you are fulfilling that criteria. It is also because adding a right application, because here, if you look at this particular question, adding an application is giving strength to your analysis. If you want to
Yes.
give a strong analysis, it should be based on the application. So application is the main thing here because he said now that include calculations of profit. Even if he hadn't, I have not said it, that include calculations of profit. So wouldn't you be thinking that, okay, fine, I have to choose one of the two services. So on what basis are you going to choose? Just on the basis of the number of customers and the cost?
No, sir.
You must be calculating the profits now or not,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So you must be calculating the profits here. You must be looking at some other factors as well. Let's suppose I saw one of the questions which said that the business was of probably selling jewelry, and they used to sell very cheap jewelry, right? So jewelry that they were selling. Now they said that do they add one more product, which is, let's suppose, a bracelet, which is a cheap bracelet and a ring, which is an expensive ring. So now, it is not only that the profits are going to make sense, it should make sense. No, it is also your costing and your selling should also make sense. Even though it says that this many amount of customers you will be able to sell the product to, right? So this is
Yes.
also saying the same thing that you will receive these additional customers. But then again, what was written in the case that most of the people who are buying the market or the market in which that they are selling now, the most of the target audience is of low income earners, and they were the company itself when they were selling the product, so they were selling a product which was more sort of low price product like this bracelet, and they had no experience of selling a product like a ring which is of not they were selling the rings but of the lower price, but they do not have a experience of selling a ring of $20, right? So they might be selling a ring which was of $5. So which one would you prefer? It's not only the profits that matter, it also your
Yes.
market that matters. Even though they have given you the number of customers, still you could say that as they do not have the experience of selling a higher value product and the market in which that they are selling, they do not buy a higher market value product. So it is better that they sell a lower market value product. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
So here I have used the application. So do you just think that application is something that you could add only once in one of the points and then move on just because that it is giving you 1 mark? It is not that. That application is helping you to be able to, gain marks in the analysis. If you're not
Yes.
using the right sort of, because this is not a 6 marker where you just have to say 4 employees and your application is done. Here, the application means something else. Here, the application means this. This is going to form a decision for you. This is going to tell you that what are you going to write not only in your analysis, but also in your evaluation. You
Yes,
understand
sir.
that? So even your evaluation becomes really tricky i- if that while writing your evaluation, you have to take on some of the points from the case study, right? So here the story of the application is very different. Here the application forms a good basis for you to write your analysis and your evaluation. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So I guess this is very important and this is what we need to show here.
So,
One
and I
thing.
have a question. So, suppose I've included all the advantages, disadvantages for haircut and steam room. Then, when I'm giving my justification, I repeat a point from the. Suppose I choose haircut and I repeat one point from the haircut, and my other 2 points are different. Do they still cut marks because of the repetition of 1 point?
They do not give marks for the repetition usually.
Okay.
So you have to come up with a point which is, let's suppose you have talked about the profit up there.
Yes, sir.
And I tell that's what I'm telling you now, that justification becomes easy because you are now writing a point here in comparison form. Here, when you were writing the points now, these were not in comparison. These were just by looking at one of the new product that they want to sell, talk about its advantage and drawback. Here, when you are writing a point, you are justifying why
Okay.
haircut is better than the steam room. So there, if you write that in a haircut that it is less costly for them, it is cheaper to make. So you can add that in your justification, but you have to point out something new to it as well. Let's suppose that it is cheaper to make. Why it is important? Because they are probably do not have enough of the money to spend on the raw materials.
Okay.
So when they do not have enough money, so you are not just writing like this. Let's suppose in impact you write, I give you an example. In impact you write for haircut is that cheaper to make, right? In your
Yes, sir.
justification, you can say that as business is new and have less money to spend on making goods and banks not willing to lend. So selling, let's suppose, a steam room service which requires more cost is not suitable compared to haircut, which does not require that much of the cost, and banks are even not willing. Even if they were willing, there will be another additional cost that they will have to pay, which is of the interest. So you see,
Yes, sir.
the point seems to be very simple in your advantage with a chain, but it becomes whole lot of a comparison thing in your evaluation.
So I could say that it's cheaper and then give a reason why it's better to go with the cheaper cost.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
So there you can, add something new. If you will not add something new and write the same sentence which you have written up there, he's going to consider it as a repetition, na bete, right?
Yes, sir.
And you do not want that they accept your point in the justification as the repetition because that will not give you any marks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So this is one sort of an idea of doing it. Now, if you look at the other side of it, another type of 12 marker. Do you see what is happening here?
Three
He
options
says
are given.
state the advantages and disadvantages of the following three ways to achieve good quality services at health spa. Only employ highly trained workers, record all customer complaints, buy only the best quality materials, and then justify. Now, what are you going to do? The length, first thing, again, the length is going to be same. Now what is going to happen is that workers point is going to give you, he's going to give you three lines to write, probably. Then customer complaints, he's going to give you three lines to write. Then buy best quality material, he's again going to give you three lines to write. And then a recommendation, three lines to write. Now what you can do? Now, here, what I will suggest you that if you say that, okay, fine, sir, if we were writing an advantage and disadvantage here because we had a lot of space to talk about the haircut and steam room. So here they have, this is a question which has already stated that you have to write the advantages. So you see, if it is so important that in this much amount of less space, you have to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of all of them. So how come this is not important here,
Yes.
right? That you are going to give an advantage plus the outcome here. Then the advantage outcome means the impact, and sorry, the disadvantage and the impact, the same thing for this, same thing for this, and then you come to the recommendation. The only thing that changes is that how you're going to now cope up with all of this is that I give you a simple hint. Here, you do not try to add application everywhere because that will make your answer a bit lengthy. Add one application in the workers part, whether you could add it in advantage or in disadvantage. Right? One thing. Then add one, then add one application here. Add one application here. Do not put in so many applications and add
Yes.
one application here. That's it. Right? But that doesn't change the fact that whatever the rest of the structure that you are choosing, you are going to change that structure. You are not going to change any structure here. The only thing that you are doing here is that you are reducing the number of applications that you are adding. Otherwise, the advantage, because he has already asked you all of those things you have to write here, which you were supposed to write in the other 12 markers. So how
Yes,
can
sir.
you skip any of the things? You can't. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You can't skip any of the things. Just give me 1 second. Okay, now coming back. So, I guess this is the what you are going to do in your 12 markers. So both types of the 12 markers we have also seen, right? So whether
So,
you are talking, yes,
in the second type of 12 marker where we are given three ways or options, so in that, is it like only 1 mark for the analysis in each of the ways and not 2 marks?
mostly, yes, because it is related to the health spa activity, na. So, and he has asked you to also state advantage and the disadvantage. So, one knowledge, one application, one analysis, one knowledge, one application, one analysis, and then again one knowledge, one application, and one analysis, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are done here. Now I am going to give you some activities to do so that you have a good idea that what we have done here, a bit of revision sort of a thing will happen here. Okay, so first thing here, if you look at the command words, I'm going to read the word and you are going to let me know which assessment objective is being asked of here. Calculate.
Okay. The application,
Yeah, AO2. Consider.
can it be evaluation?
Usually, what they do is that when you are writing the consider, they could probably ask you in a 12 marker that consider this point. Let's suppose, I guess they haven't, yes, they have used it here. Yes, on the P part. So we have, the reference as well. Very good. So reference is also there. But by considering also means that you have to apply the analysis
Yes,
part
sir.
as well. So that's why AO4 and AO3. Define,
Define would be AO1.
explain.
So that would be the analysis, and also I guess the application would come in it.
And sometimes the knowledge part is also relates to the explanation questions.
Yes, sir.
You have seen the D parts, no? Where they are saying explain,
Yes.
identify,
That's AO1.
justify.
That would be knowledge, analysis, and evaluation. And then if we talk about 12 mark, well, I don't think so. Justify comes in the 12 markers. But if it does, then the application would also come.
Why? Why? Just you see, justify,
Oh,
justify. What happened, Gushi? Justify is always going to come in the E part, 6 marks, and a 12 mark paper two.
then it will be all four.
Yeah, all four. And basically, their focus is here on the evaluation, right?
Yes.
So focus is the evaluation. This is the focal point. Okay, outline.
Mm, AO1 and AO2.
Yes. So if you have to outline from the application, sorry, from the case, so it would, have a mixture of the AO2 as well. Very good. Good thinking. So state.
State would be AO1.
Very nice, Beta. Okay, now I am going to show you a question here. And what you are going to do is that you are going to read that very quickly. And what is wrong? Uh, Okay. So you are going to read this answer and I will ask you to mark this answer.
Okay.
Carefully read it, every single thing, and then we are going to have a good discussion on this.
So I'm done reading.
Done writing everything. Okay,
Yes,
done
I'm done
reading.
reading.
Okay, so okay, good, good, good. So let's just come to this very quickly. So, what are the knowledge things that he has provided here? Anything that relates to knowledge, we are going to highlight first.
Yes, sir.
Where
So
is the knowledge?
we have to state the two possible methods. So that would be the one method is a meeting, would be a knowledge point, and then another way is to send an email.
So, meeting is a knowledge point,
An email.
and the email is the knowledge point. So, these two are considered to be as A1. Okay. Now, coming to A2, application. Okay, is there an application that we have to look for here, or do we not need to?
Not really, but the hidden application, the small business, so we have to refer it to the business being small and which method is better for a small business.
Okay, great. So it means that there is a hidden application, which is the small business, and you have to refer it to in your evaluation. We'll talk about that then later. By the way, has he done that?
No, sir.
Okay. So,
So I'll just be back in 1 minute.
yes, come again. Krishi Beta, your mic is mute.
Sorry, sir, there was a call coming.
No problem, Beta, no problem. You can take the call.
No, no, sir, it's done.
Okay. So small business is A2, which is missing in evaluation.
Yes, sir.
We have also talked about it. Okay. Because that will have an impact on the evaluation, a big impact. Now, the analysis.
So analysis is there. First, the person talks about the advantage, so where they say it can stop any misunderstanding. It's easy to respond. So that would come under the analysis.
Okay, wait. First, we'll see. Get everyone together
Yes,
and
sir.
easy to respond quickly to everyone.
Yes, sir. And stop
And
any
these are the
misunderstanding.
advantage side that he has given. Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Drawback side analysis.
So they take time and they're difficult to arrange.
Okay.
Then The second sentence is more of just an explanation to those 2 points.
Second sentence, which you are talking about.
The when important decisions are being discussed, that part.
S- So, what are you saying about this?
So I was saying that that's more just like an explanation as to why meetings are time taking and why it's a disadvantage, because it's necessary for all of them to be together and it's difficult to arrange a meeting where everyone is available. So it's more like an explanation to that.
So, it's more like an explanation here. Okay. So, what do you think that how many is there any mark that you are going to referring to here, or it's just that
It's not
it is what
necessary
it
to
is? It's not necessary to add this.
put the,
That's what you're saying.
yes, sir, that sentence of when important decisions are being discussed.
Okay. Okay, fine. What
The
else? Now, should we move on to the second one or what?
Yes, I just wanted to say the person could have used those two-line space to increase and their evaluation, because they hardly took one sentence for the evaluation. So they could have uh, taken two extra lines by not putting that information.
Hmm. Hmm. Agreed. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But what I am focusing right now here is on the fact that the second part, the email, for that they
Yes.
have, has he talked about any advantage?
Yes, so it can be sent to everyone at the same time and they can read it at their own convenience.
And drawback?
So there's no way to make sure everyone receives it. So there's no feedback, and some people might not be able to understand what's been written. So that is a disadvantage mentioned. And it takes time to like ask the questions, so it's not easy.
Now the evaluation.
So
How about the
person
evaluation?
chose a side. They chose a side which was using a meeting, but then there's no reason given for why choosing a meeting would be better compared to an email.
Hmm. Okay. So how many marks?
So that will be 5 out of 6.
5 out of 6. So you have given him a mark here. You have given him 5 out of 6. Where you have deducted the mark where he has not explained the evaluation, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. Now there are few things that I want to talk about here. The first thing, that is first method was meeting, right?
Yes, sir.
Any said that the meetings are good because you can get everyone together, and if someone has any question, it is easier to respond quickly to everyone, which can help stop any misunderstanding, right?
Yes, sir.
So there he might be giving him a mark here, isn't it? For 1 mark for the knowledge and 1 mark for writing this analysis.
Yes, sir.
right? They get easy together, and if someone has any question, it is easier to respond. So there he should get the 2 marks. But on the other hand, when you see the drawback side, when he says that although the problem with the meeting is that they take time and are difficult to arrange, this seems to be more of, do you think it seems to be more of the analysis or the knowledge? What does it look like?
The knowledge.
Okay, right. Then he comes to the okay, but although but he has been given 2 marks here in the first on the first side. Now coming to the second side, he said that this can be sent to everyone at the same time and they can read it when they want. Does this seem to be an analysis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then he says, however, there is no way to make sure that everyone receives it or opens it at the same time. If someone does not understand what has been written, it is not easy to ask questions. Is that considered to be the point for the um, analysis again? Could it
Yes,
be?
sir.
Okay, I get it. Okay, now what I feel here is that when you are talking about the analysis part, although the question itself required both the advantages and disadvantages, and the decision is also made on this very easily. That we have also made a decision on the basis of that, which he has done that. So I think that they should use meeting as there are more advantages to this method. So he has also given the evaluative comment about that which side he's going to choose. So one thing for sure is that he has not evaluated it further, so he will be not getting any mark for that. But the responses
Yes.
clearly, explains both the methods. A choice is also made, but there is no clear evaluation. So the decision which is alone is made is not, sufficient to access the evaluation marks. Don't you think so? That if you write like this, will he be given the mark for this? 1 mark for this?
Maybe for
Should
choosing
he
the
be
side,
given the
but
one
then
mark for choosing a side or not?
he should be. But then maybe the examiner would want to know why.
Exactly. If I see I remember I've seen the marking, the examiner comments on this particular question, and I remember from that he gave him 4 out of 6.
Oh,
And I can, okay, let me just find out that so that I can read it to you as well. Just give me 1 minute. Probably this was the question from, because this is from the learner's guide that I have taken. So it's probably 2023. Yes, I have this paper. This because this is the no, this is a specimen paper of 2020, I guess. Yes, yes, yes. I found it out. So it's the E part, and here we have no. This is not the E. This question is about internal. Okay, internal community. 2E, no. 3E probably. Yes, 3E. So the examiner says here on
but
the
it's
E
not
part,
visible.
yeah, I'm going to share it with you. Let me just share this with you. Let me just share it with you. that what the examiner has talked about here. So I be much if I will be able to paste it here, it will be really great. Hmm, why not? If I copy the text, what does it say? Oh my God, the Bluetooth is off here. Let me turn it on and share with you the answer. Copy the image. Now I would probably be able to paste it. Yes. Okay. If you look at this, Kushi, so
Yes,
he
sir.
says the response clearly explains two methods and reasons why each one may be suitable. A choice has been made, but there is no clear evidence to support the idea that meetings are better than an email. Our decision alone is not sufficient to access the evaluation marks. Awareness of context could be used as a way to evaluate each of the options. For example, because the business is looking to expand, and right now it is because it's a small business, huh? A meeting may
Yes,
be
sir.
preferable because it is likely that employees will have questions that they will would want answering. And so the need for instant feedback is more important than the possible cost and time application involved in holding a meeting. So you see, here, the specimen, because sometimes the examiner is marking you on the merits, that they are giving you the mark, 1 mark for choosing a side. But this is one of those examples where he has not even given 1 mark for the evaluation.
Yes, sir.
So, more so, it becomes really important that if you think that you will always be getting a mark here for writing this and not giving the right explanation, you might not be given a mark for this. So this instance is one of those where he has not marked. Then there are other papers in 23 as well where they have marked such answers and they have given 1 mark for choosing a side. So this tells us that if there is variation, so the best way is to go with do everything. Do not leave it on the
Yes,
chance.
sir.
You can't leave it on the chance. So you see, there is variation in the examiner checking as well.
Yes.
From where I have taken this part that I showed you, I should, paste it here so that you have this in your notebook. Okay. So I'm going to write it here that this is the examiner comments. So it means that this these comments I have taken it from the specimen paper answer. So that is what the Cambridge has established. And I saw one of the examiner reports in which he has given the mark. So it means that there are variations as well when the examiner is actually checking the paper, right?
Yes, sir.
From what the marking scheme is. So this is a bit, is a bit different. So this seems to, have I shown you one of the questions there? I show you that where it, how come the Cambridge criteria sometimes is different from the examiner report? The best example that we can see here is, where did I do that? I have done it somewhere. I guess here. I've checked one of the economics paper. So you can see here, Kushi, that the question says The question was about calculate what percentage of Honduran people did not have access to electricity in 2020, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, people without access to electricity is 0.83 million, and the total population is 10 million, right?
Yes, sir.
So I have done this. So is this right? Sorry, 8.3%. Is this right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I tell you one thing. Now what the examiner has done with one of the answers written by the student. So this is the answer that he wrote. 2.8 million divided by 10 million multiplied by 100 giving 8%, right?
Yes, sir.
Can he do this?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because in that table it was written 0.83, not 0.8. So,
And yes, go on.
so like we should have the exact value written, which is 8.3, because 8% and 8.3 has a major difference in terms of that table.
Yes, why? Because it's 0.03 million he is missing out, which
Yes,
means
sir.
30,000 people. He skipped out of his calculation.
Yes, sir.
Can you do that?
No, sir.
But you will be surprised to know. And one more thing, marking scheme has given an answer like this, where he said that, what is this? Why have I written this? Okay, where he said that it should be 0.83 divided by 10 multiplied by 100, and the answer given is 8.3%. This is what the marking scheme has done. And now you will be shocked by looking at this. The candidate provides an accurate calculation, 1 out of 1. The
Wait, what?
examiner. Yes. So you see, should this be marked 1? Never. I would never mark him 1. Because somebody who is missing a 30,000 people out of his calculation, how can he do
Yes, sir.
that? It is not something that you can round off. It's the population. Populations are never
Yes,
rounded off, right? So it's the real figure that you cannot round off. 30,000 people is, it's probably 10% of Norway's population. How can you miss
yes, sir.
that? About 6-7% of population of the whole country. So you can't miss that. So that's what is actually sometimes can happen. So in such circle, and then you can see here that there was a middle answer. This was the right way to answer it. And he gave 1 mark here as well, right? Which seems fine,
Yes,
but not up there. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you here is that specimen answers or the Cambridge marking schemes are more accurate, but that does not mean that examiner will be directly looking at that. So the
okay.
only option that you have is to do everything right.
Yes, sir.
Do not leave it on a chance. So if you're leaving it, so the same thing now applies to this, Kushi. That if you are leaving this on the chance that, okay, fine, I write this and I will be marked 1. One examiner did mark it 1. The specimen answer did not mark it even 1 for this. And specimen answer says that you need to have the examiner is expected to see the advantages and disadvantages. And when I will show you the examiner reports now, there are
Yes,
answers where the students have been given marks for not doing the same thing, the advantage and disadvantage, but still they have been given the marks. right? And sometimes they are not. So, in such variations that you see, the only thing that you need to be very careful about is do not miss anything. If you can see that, okay, fine, the examiner in the examiner report has marked somebody on something which is not right, actually. You shouldn't
Yes.
be, focusing on that. You should be, because many times when I have taught these examiner reports and the candidate responses to my students, and they are always like, "Sir, you deduct so many marks, and this is not the way because you see the examiner is not deducting the mark here." Because I tell them that this is one particular examiner that I'm showing you for 2023 examination candidate response. So, if there is another examiner who is focusing more on the marking scheme than on his own ability to mark, then you will be caught.
Yes.
So, there is only one formula. Do what is required by the Cambridge, not what is required by one specific examiner.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Excellent. Now we are going to move on and talk about some of the common mistakes. Okay. The most common mistakes learners make when approaching the evaluation questions are not explaining points in detail and not making a justified decision. This is what we have also seen up there as well.
Yes,
So
sir.
they are not explaining the points, they're not making any justified decision. And sometimes even, if let's suppose you are giving a general evaluation and not choosing a side, you will still be deducted a marks, even if you have, justified. But what have you justified if there is no side that you have chosen, right? So a
Yes, sir.
side must be chosen to make it a clear answer. Then the second mistake, many responses tend to identify different methods, do not develop the points to show how or why it is suitable or not. So you see, if you're writing a knowledge of repayment and interest, these both are the considered to be as the points of knowledge, and there is no analysis there. Or offer explanation that could apply to a range of methods. Okay. Third thing, making a decision alone, such as yes, no, is not evaluation. It is reason it behind the choice that the examiner are looking for. So you see the thing that you
Yes.
said that sir, maybe he is not given the mark because he is behind looking for the reason behind the choice. So if he's behind he's looking for the reason behind the choice, so you can't do this. You can't just come up and write that I'm going to choose this and you will be marked one. You might not be marked one there. Okay. In order to do your best when answering a question, make sure you address the question being asked, means you have to stay focused that what he's asking, the impact. Sometimes what students do is that if the question is asking you to do something and they have written certain, let's suppose, stakeholders down there, so they are giving the benefits. Let's suppose they were talking about the probably connecting the stakeholders to any decision, and then they were basically looking for the impact of that on the business. So what the students are doing, they are writing the impact on the stakeholders, not the business
Yes.
as a whole, right? So why this has happened is because they have not read the question carefully. And then I saw one very good example. There was a business where the supplier was providing clothes to the retailing business, right? So the candidate was asked, there was a question which says that for this retailing business, if their business grows, what will be the benefit to supplier? So here the heading was given supplier, and there was one point of identification and then the explanation. So here the student wrote that sales of raw material will increase. Examiner did not give any marks for this. Why?
Is it because the supplier is supplying clothes and clothes is not a raw material?
Yes. So you see,
Yes, sir.
usually when we are thinking about the supplier, we think about the raw material. It is a natural thing, right?
Yes,
So he just naturally wrote that the sales of raw material will increase. And the examiner caught him there. And he said that, okay, fine, buddy, this is not the raw material, this is the actual final good that he's providing to a retailing business. You understand this point?
sir.
Very good. Think carefully about how to define a given term. Ensure your answer is clear and precise, and so that the definition cannot be confused with another term. All right.
Yes, sir.
So everything should be clear here. Relate any knowledge to the question being asked. Consider the context of the information you are giving. So it means that application must also be there. Be clear and direct in
Yes, sir.
any judgment or conclusion you are making. The examiner cannot make assumptions about this is the line that I was talking about. This is the line that I
Yes,
was
sir.
talking about, that if you write something like this, which examiner needs to think about, they simply say that the examiner cannot make assumptions about what you mean. You need to make it clear. You get that?
Yes, sir.
Last thing, support any conclusions with accurate and relevant information or data from the case study. So you see your evaluation, that's what I was saying as well, that in evaluation, the application has a role. With students, sometimes what they do is that they add the application up there everywhere. And when they come to the evaluation, they do the evaluation without considering adding the application because they believe that application marks are already given. So what's the point of writing the application again? The point of writing the application, I told you before as well, that it is not only
Yes, sir.
better that you have to write the application just for the sake of getting the mark for the application. The purpose of the adding application is to give strength to your evaluations as well, right? And this
Yes, sir.
specifically, they are talking about the paper two, where I was talking about the fact that there the evaluation must have the application because in the paper one E parts, the evaluation includes the application, but that is the hidden one, right?
Yes, sir.
But again, that is also very important because if you have not considered that, might your evaluation might be completely wrong. You had to talk about something which was suitable for a small business, but you gave a general advice which was, more suited for the large rather than the small. Then will they consider your evaluation? No, they will not.
And so, if it's like a question in the E part where they haven't given any hidden application, then we can just give like a normal evaluation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Then you give very general if it is not given. So I guess this is it. So finally, I hope, Khushi, that you have some more understanding on now how you are going to attempt your answers.
Yes, sir. I got a lot more
So
understanding now.
that's great. That's great. So, although this is For because I have a lot of things to share here, the candidate responses and sample answers as well. But we are going to just keep it to this for business so that at least now you will be able to score good in your exams just because that you know all of those things. Now we are going to
Yes,
put
sir.
a stop here to this, and in the next coming classes, the next week, I will simply teach you about the assessment objectives and the paper pattern of economics,
Okay, sir.
right? So we are here done with the business one. You have any more questions in your mind, you can ask me.
No, sir.
Everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Khushi. So I guess then this is all for today then.
Yes, sir.